안녕, 내 이름은 Elise. 한국말 배우고 있어요. Hi, my name is Elise, and I have spent the last 4 weeks learning Korean. For my project, I wanted to begin learning the Korean Hangeul language, which is pretty difficult, I figured out, especially since there was no one there actually teaching me. It was me finding all of my own materials online and through YouTube videos, which don't exactly tell you how the shape of your mouth should be or the specifics along that line. Obviously, this is new to me because I don't know how to speak Korean. Well, I have a better idea now than I did, but I still don't really know how to speak it. And I chose Korean because I like watching K-dramas and listening to K-pop, and it's just always been an interesting language to me. Over here you can see the Korean, well, part of the Korean alphabet. That would be, these are the vowels, and these are the different consonants that they have, and these are inside here are all of the different combinations of those and how they sound and how they look when they're put together into syllables. So for my project plan, let's see if we can go to it. Over here, you can see, if it will scroll down for me. For my plan, I had written down what I wanted to do. I had to change this several times just because it took me so much longer to finish each of the hour-long videos. It took me about an hour and a half or 2 hours to actually go through each of the videos instead of the hour that I had originally given myself. I thought I could finish it in like each video in one day, but it ended up taking normally 2 days, and that was even with some working outside of class. So I could only get about 3, and you can see that it kind of changed as I went along about what I was doing. Notes in practice, I took all of my notes physically by hand instead of using the computer, just because it was more beneficial for me to write it out and to have to sound out things as I was writing them out by hand instead of trying to find some sort of Korean keyboard and then just type all those notes up. That would have been a lot more difficult. Different apps that I used were translate.com. This was really good because I could have it set to Korean language. Translating it into English, I could use the microphone to say something and then it would translate it into English for me, so I could know what they were talking about on the videos that I watched, which I'll get to that in a second. I also began using Hi Native at the very end, which is this app, and these were both on my phone, but they do have websites as well. Here, so you can ask questions to native speakers. Like here is a question that I asked: how do you say hello, my name is Elise in Korean? And a native Korean speaker could answer back, and then I could use this Translate app to sound it out and make it say what I wanted it to. So that was really helpful. That helped me kind of figure out what I was doing wrong with my pronunciations. And then the YouTube video series, if we can go back, that I used was Korean Culture Series and Quick Korean, which was this site here. If I can pause that. But the group that I used, I started with this lady, and this was part of my problem solving. I started learning from her, but she speaks the whole thing in Korean, which is a little bit more difficult to get. But he, which is the one I ended up using for most of them, actually talks in English and then will say things in Korean for you. For example, we'll see if it'll play.
Now, in this picture, we have a window, and where is the window in relation to the computer? As you can see, the window is behind the computer. So, how would we say behind the computer? We would use this word 뒤, and we would say 컴퓨터 뒤. Now,
and you can see from that he does use English to explain things rather than having to try and figure out and use the subtitles on the lady who is speaking only Korean. And now, the resources that he used, they were all really helpful. High Native was a little bit confusing to begin looking at just because it just has like question bubbles that pop up all the time. So if you're trying to find a specific question again at a later time, it can be a little bit difficult to get there. But overall, they were very, very, very helpful to me and able to help me figure out more what was going on. I wouldn't really change anything except maybe having found the guy who speaks in English rather than starting with the lady who was talking in Korean at the beginning. That could have helped speed up the process a little bit, but even that wasn't super difficult to work through. So the learning that I did, I have a lot of notes and I have a lot of knowledge. It's a little bit difficult to just jump right in and speak Korean just because I'm not at a point yet where I even know how to formulate sentences. There are 35 total videos in the series that I was watching. I only got to, let's see, the 8th or 9th video, just because it does take so long to get through them when you're writing out the notes by hand. And I do have several pages of notes just over how the vowels and consonants fit together and sound. I know quite a bit about the grammar of the Korean language, just as far as when you use certain syllables before or after a word that ends in a vowel. I can sight read Korean. I don't understand what it is, which is why I have my Translate app. I can sight read it and sound it out and say it into the app, and it'll tell me what it means. So I can actually say things, but I can't just formulate sentences on my own. I don't have enough vocabulary knowledge. The problem solving, again, was the guy with speaking English to teach me Korean instead of learning Korean from someone speaking Korean. The Translate.com app is something that I found within my first week because I was so confused about what they were saying. And it was mostly positive problem solving. There wasn't really anything bad that happened that I had to fix. It was just things that would help me to be more successful with my project. So for the overview, this was a difficult project. It took more out of me than I thought it would. I didn't think it would take me as long, and I also didn't expect it to be quite as challenging, I guess, as it was. I don't really know why I thought I could just pick up a language just immediately. I obviously didn't think I would be fluent, but I thought that I could possibly begin speaking in sentences rather than just knowing words here and there and struggling to string those together. The grammar is definitely something that I don't quite understand. Their sentence structure is very different from English. They sometimes don't start with the subject at the beginning of the sentence, and sometimes that ends up being the last part of the sentence, or sometimes it's in the beginning or in the middle, and then all the little connector words, like we have the articles like the and as, all those kinds of things. Those are still confusing to me and where they're placed, but I am still learning, and I will continue to keep pushing through and learning more and more as the days go by. Problem solving was very important in this. If you don't know what you're saying, then it's really no good to learn the language. So I'm happy that I could find those apps, the translator.com app and the High Native app. Things that I would do differently, my time management and planning, just kind of not understanding how much time it would take me to get through the videos led me to be pretty frustrated at the beginning. I couldn't get done as much as I wanted to, and I struggled to keep myself on the track that I had placed. And my most successful moment was definitely when I used the translate.com app for the first time and I could see that the word that I was saying was actually pronounced correctly in Korean. And I was like, hey, I can do this. So that was really awesome. There are a lot of words that I've learned, but I still have a long way to go before I'm anywhere near able to have a conversation. And that's something I'm going to continue striving for. So, thank you for listening to my project.